Here's my take. Reporters have been noticing something new about Donald Trump's campaign events this time around. They often resemble religious revival meetings. The New York Times notes that where his rallies were once improvised and volatile, their finales now feel more planned, solemn, and infused with religion. The closing 15 minutes evokes an evangelical altar call filled with references to God. Trump is a shrewd reader of his supporters and has clearly seen what the data show. White evangelicals, who make up about 14% of the population, made up about 1/4 of voters in the 2020 elections, and about 3/4 of them voted for Donald Trump. Even more striking, of those white voters who attend religious services once a month or more, 71% voted for Trump in the 2020 election. Even similarly religious blacks, by contrast, voted Democratic by a 9-to-1 ratio. The key to understanding Trump's coalition is the intensity of his support among white people who are and who claim to be devout Christians. This phenomenon must be viewed against one of the most significant shifts in American life over the last 2 decades, the dramatic and rapid secularization of America. As I write in my book, Age of Revolutions, America was long an outlier among advanced industrial countries in that it remained religious. But around the 1990s, that began to change, and the numbers plunged after 2007. As the scholar Ronald Inglehart has shown, since that year, religious decline in America has been the greatest of any country of the 49 surveyed. By one measure, America today is the 12th least religious country on earth. In 1990, according to the General Social Survey, less than 10% of Americans had no religious affiliation. Today, it's around 30%. Why this is happening is not easily understood, but some of it is probably that the onward march of science, reason, and skepticism has fueled secularism in most rich countries. But it might also relate to certain choices that American Christianity has made over the last decades. In his important work, American Evangelicalism, James Davison Hunter points out that evangelicals grew their numbers by adapting to an America that had become much less religiously observant and devout. The old Protestant fundamentalism had been filled with warnings against sin, heresy, Catholicism, adultery, divorce, materialism, and any deviation from strict Christian morality. But preachers like Jerry Falwell made the religion more user-friendly and less doctrinally demanding. What filled the place of religious doctrine was politics. Over the last few years, this process has been extended even further with those who consider themselves devout Christians, defining their faith almost entirely in political terms by opposing abortion, gay marriage, and transgender rights. This, in turn, has led to a great democratic de-churching. According to Gallup, Democratic church membership was 46% in 2020, down from 71% 2 decades prior. The scholar David Campbell of Notre Dame told the AP, increasingly, Americans associate religion with the Republican Party. And if they're not Republicans themselves, they turn away from religion. This phenomenon of the right using, even weaponizing religion is not unique to America or Christianity. You can see it in Brazil, El Salvador, Italy, Israel, Turkey, and India, among other places. Secularization may be inevitable, but it does seem to coincide with a sense of loss for many, a loss of faith and community that might be at the heart of the loneliness that many people report experiencing these days. In my book, I quote the political commentator Walter Lippmann, who presciently identified this problem in 1929. Men have been deprived of the sense of certainty as to why they were born, why they must work, whom they must love, what they must honor, where they may turn in sorrow and defeat. As I write in my book, into this void steps populism, nationalism, and authoritarianism. These modern political forces offer people a new faith, a new cause greater than themselves, to which they can devote themselves, Hungary's Prime Minister expressed this articulately to Tucker Carlson in an interview last year.
There are certain things which are more important than me, than my ego. Family, nation, God.
This is the great political challenge of our time. Liberal democracy gives people greater liberty than ever before, breaking down repression and control everywhere, in politics, in religion, in society. But as the philosopher Kierkegaard wrote, anxiety is the dizziness of freedom. Modern society gives us all wealth, technology, and autonomy. But for many, these things cannot fill the hole in the heart that God and faith once occupied. To fill it with politics is dangerous, but that seems to be the shape of things to come.